find very offensive and condescending about your statement is nobody would say to a bunch of white filmmakers, how could you do this to your people? This film has the right to be about these people, and Asian American characters have the right to be whoever the hell they want to be. They do not have to represent their people.
Hey, this is Brie Larson. Welcome to Sessions at AOL. Come on in.
Back in 2018, Brie Larson made comments at a Women in Film event about not caring what white males thought about A Wrinkle in Time. She received a lot of backlash for her comments. And during all this, it got me to thinking on how Roger Ebert would have responded. And then I recalled a time when Roger Ebert was called racist for not liking a black film, long before critics were called racist for not liking Black Panther. In 2005, Roger Ebert gave a 1-star review to the Tyler Perry film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. For that review, he received enough backlash that he wrote a column replying to it. I'm not going to read the entirety of the column, but I will link it in the description, along with the initial review, as well as an Answer Man column in which he received responses to this column. Who is That Mad Black Woman? By Roger Ebert, March 2nd, 2005. Last Friday, I published a negative 1-star review of Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And since then, I received more emails than about any review I have ever written. Many of the messages say versions of the same thing. White critics don't get it. We don't know who Tyler Perry is. We have never heard of the millions of dollars his plays have grossed all over America. In theaters, churches, school halls, and on DVD. And most of all, we don't know that characters like his Medea are based on strong black women the writers are all familiar with. The emails I've received are more direct. As a white man, I'm told, I am clueless to understand that strong older women who have had to be tough to survive in hard times are familiar in all African American families and do not conform to the Gentile manners of the art house crowd. More than one writer, especially on the Yahoo message boards, calls me and other critics of the film racist. Why You Be Hatin' is one headline. Demon 2002 writes, look, some of you really need to stop, white people, especially those of you with your racist comments about all blacks in the ghetto. I'm willing to bet my entire direct deposit pay, which is probably substantially more than many of you will see in 3 months, that you didn't see this movie. I hate that home computers have been made so accessible in price that the lower class and closed-minded whites are spewing foolishness across the net. I have reread my original review and see no need to change a word. It expresses what I think about Diary, and a critic is worthless. He starts writing what he thinks his readers want to read. He becomes the dummy, and his readers become the ventriloquists. I refuse to accept the theory that I am racist because I dislike the film. Many of the Yahoo messages attack the notion that racism belongs in the discussion. But I do realize that Tyler Perry is under the radar of the white-dominated media, that the loss of Elvis Mitchell at the New York Times leaves us with only a handful of black critics. Doesn't it seem like there ought to be more mainstream black film critics than black Oscar nominees? Do I think I failed Diary of a Mad Black Woman in my duty as a critic? No, because 1, I told you honestly what I thought about it, and 2, I provided a good idea of what's in the movie so that readers can decide they like it even if I didn't. While Ebert agrees with Brie Larson that there should be more black film critics, he still stands behind his review, which all critics should be able to do no matter their race.
For me, I'm gonna have to say to pay to see this movie in theaters. I feel like it's getting a lot of hate, and I don't know if that's more so from people who haven't read the book.
So, character building, good actors, good movie, right? Wrong, try again. A Wrinkle in Time is simply just a movie that cannot create enough magic to be good. I mean, that's...
Any critic should be able to review any film they choose to without their race or gender being an issue. Giving their honest opinion is what really matters.
It is that good. This is by far the best South Korean film I've seen this year, and possibly one of the best South Korean films I have ever seen.
And even if critics don't like a film, doesn't mean that audiences won't go and see it.
Think of it. $1 million. For one night.
It's wrong to believe that people want to go to good movies. They're very suspicious of good movies. They're very willing to go to midstream movies. And I got a call once at the Sun-Times, more than 20 years ago, from a reader who said, we're going to the movies tonight, and in the Wilmette Theater near our home, they're playing Cries and Whispers by Ingmar Bergman. What can you tell us about that movie? And I said, well, I think it's the best movie of the year. And the reader said, oh, that doesn't sound like anything we'd like to see. You say, Breaking the Waves is the strongest emotional experience I've had at the movies in 6 months, with a brilliant performance by Emily Watson. And they'll say, oh, good. What do you think about Jerry Maguire? In other words, they want a little less. They're not really up for, you know?
But I mean,
I don't feel like going to the French restaurant tonight. I just feel like burgers.
Gotta clap for that.
Gotta clap for it. Gotta clap for it.
Very cool.
Very cool. Gotta clap for him.